Hi, my name is Alex. Today, I'm sharing the next chapter of our story. You see, Emily and I thought we had already faced the hardest challenges life could throw at us. But life has a way of surprising you, sometimes in the best ways, and other times in ways that test your strength all over again. After our incredible trip to Italy and watching Noah and Lily grow into amazing young adults, Emily and I entered a new phase of our lives. The kids were off building their own lives, and we had more time to focus on each other and the things we had once put aside: travel, hobbies, and just being together. It was a golden time for us, filled with long, lazy mornings, spontaneous road trips, and the kind of deep conversations that we hadn't had in years. But as the seasons changed, we began to notice some shifts. Life, while beautiful, was also starting to throw new challenges our way, different from the ones we faced in our younger years. The new journey begins. It started gradually. Emily, always the energetic one, began feeling more tired than usual. At first, we chalked it up to the natural aging process. After all, we weren't in our 20s or 30s anymore. But the fatigue became more persistent. There were days when she struggled to keep up with the activities we loved. Walking in the park, tending to the garden, even simple tasks around the house. One afternoon, as we were sitting on the porch, Emily looked at me with a seriousness that I hadn't seen since the days of her cancer treatments. "Alex," she said, her voice softer than usual. "I think something's wrong." My heart skipped a beat. We had been here before. The uncertainty, the fear of the unknown. But this felt different. We had been through so much already. Surely life wouldn't throw us back into the storm we had fought so hard to survive. We made an appointment with her doctor, and the next few weeks were a blur of tests, waiting rooms, and nervous conversations. I tried to stay positive for Emily, telling her everything would be fine, that it was probably just a minor issue. But deep down, the fear was gnawing at me. When the results came in, we found out that Emily's heart wasn't as strong as it used to be. The doctor explained that it was a condition that sometimes affected people who had undergone chemotherapy. Her heart had been weakened by the treatments she had endured years ago to fight the cancer. The news hit me like a freight train. After all we had been through, the idea that Emily's health could still be in danger was devastating. But Emily, ever the fighter, looked at the doctor and nodded calmly. "Okay," she said. "What do we do now?" Facing it together. In true Emily fashion, she took the diagnosis in stride. There were new medications, lifestyle changes, and regular checkups. We adjusted our lives once again, slowing down even more, taking things day by day. I could see the toll it was taking on her, but she never complained. She had this quiet strength about her that I admired so much. We still had our moments of joy, though. Even with the challenges, we made time for little adventures, visiting the local farmer's market, going for drives along the coast, having picnics by the lake. Emily still tended to her garden, though I took on more of the physical work. She would sit and direct me, laughing when I planted something in the wrong spot. One evening, as we sat by the fireplace with a cup of tea, Emily turned to me with a soft smile. "You know, Alex," she said, I've been thinking about what really matters in life. I looked at her, curious. And what's that? She took a deep breath, her eyes reflecting the flicker of the flames. It's not about how long we have. It's about how we use the time we're given. I don't regret anything, not the cancer, not this heart condition, because it's all part of the life we've lived together. Her words hit me deeply. It was true. We had been through so much, but it was all part of our journey. Every struggle, every challenge had brought us closer and made our love stronger. I wouldn't change a thing either, I said, taking her hand in mine, because every moment with you is worth it. A new kind of love. As the years went on, Emily's health became more fragile. There were more hospital visits, more medications, and more moments where we had to face the reality of her condition. But through it all, we held on to each other. Our love had changed. It wasn't the fiery, passionate love of our youth, but something deeper, something more enduring. It was the kind of love that didn't need words. The kind of love where sitting in silence together, just being in each other's presence, was enough. The kind of love that saw us through sleepless nights and days filled with uncertainty. Noah and Lily, now adults with their own lives, were incredibly supportive. They visited often, helping with whatever we needed, bringing joy and laughter into our home. Watching them grow into such kind and compassionate people was one of the greatest joys of our lives. One day, as we sat together, Emily looked at me and said, "Alex, I want you to promise me something." I turned to her, my heart tightening. "Anything." She smiled, a soft, bittersweet smile. "When the time comes, I want you to live. I don't want you to get stuck in the past, thinking about what could have been. I want you to keep living, to keep finding joy, even if I'm not here." I swallowed hard, not wanting to think about a future without her. But I knew she needed to hear it. "I promise," I said, my voice thick with emotion. "But you're not going anywhere for a long time." She squeezed my hand. "I hope not." The gift of time. Time is a strange thing. Sometimes it feels like it slips through your fingers, and other times it feels like it stretches on forever. For Emily and me, time became both a gift and a reminder that every moment mattered. We continued living our lives as fully as we could. We celebrated birthdays, anniversaries, and holidays with our children and their families. We laughed, we cried, and we cherished every single day we had together. But as much as we tried to hold on to those moments, we knew that time wasn't something we could control. Emily's health continued to decline, and eventually the day came when she could no longer stay at home. It was one of the hardest decisions we ever made, transitioning her to hospice care. But it was what she needed. She was tired, and I could see it in her eyes. I stayed by her side every day, holding her hand, talking to her, reminding her of all the beautiful memories we had made. The hospital room was filled with photos of our life together, the kids, our trips, our home. It was a reminder of the love that had carried us through so many years. One evening, as the sun set outside her window, Emily turned to me with a peaceful smile. "Thank you," she whispered, "for everything." Tears filled my eyes, but I smiled back at her. No, thank you for being my everything. The next chapter. Emily passed away quietly that night, surrounded by love. It was the hardest moment of my life, losing her, but in a way, I also felt an incredible sense of peace. She was no longer in pain, and I knew, deep in my heart, that she had lived her life fully. In the days and weeks that followed, I leaned on our children, on friends, and on the memories of the life Emily and I had built together. It wasn't easy. There were days when the grief felt overwhelming, but I kept my promise to her. I continued living, finding joy in the small things, in the people who loved me. Emily's garden still blooms every year, a living reminder of the beauty she brought into the world. I tend to it, just like she did, planting new flowers, caring for the old ones, and remembering her in every petal, every blossom. And though she may be gone, Emily's love is still with me, guiding me through this new chapter of my life. It's a quieter life now, but it's still filled with meaning, with purpose, with love. Because that's what Emily taught me. That love, real love, never truly ends. It just changes, like the seasons, becoming a part of everything we are, everything we do. After Emily's passing, I had to adjust to a new rhythm of life. There were moments of quiet reflection, memories that filled the house, and the occasional ache of loneliness. I still tended to her garden, still kept the house in order, but the days felt longer without her beside me. One morning, while I was making my usual cup of coffee, I heard a soft knock on the door. Strange, I thought. I wasn't expecting anyone. I wiped my hands on a towel and opened the door to see a young woman standing there, probably in her late 20s. She looked vaguely familiar, but I couldn't quite place her. She had striking dark hair, and her eyes held a spark of curiosity mixed with something deeper, something I couldn't quite read. "Hello, are you Alex?" she asked, with a tentative smile. "Yes, that's me," I replied, confused. "And you are?" "I'm Sophia, Emily's daughter." My heart skipped a beat. Emily's daughter? It was like hearing the words in slow motion. My mind raced back through the years, trying to make sense of what she had just said. Emily had never mentioned having a daughter. She had always been open about her past, and something as monumental as this wouldn't have been kept from me. Or would it? I blinked, trying to process. Emily's daughter? My voice faltered, unsure of what to say next. "I didn't know." Sophia gave a soft nod, understanding the shock on my face. "I don't blame you. It's a long story. Can I come in? I think we should talk." We sat at the kitchen table, a place where Emily and I had shared countless meals and conversations. Now I was sitting across from a woman who claimed to be her daughter, a part of Emily's life that I never knew existed. "I didn't find out about Emily until I was a teenager," Sophia began, her voice calm, but with a hint of sadness. "I was adopted as a baby, and for years, I didn't know who my biological parents were. But as I got older, I became curious, and I started looking for answers. That's when I found out about Emily." I sat there, listening intently, feeling a strange mix of emotions: confusion, curiosity, and a touch of disbelief. Emily had always been such a private person about certain aspects of her life. But this? A daughter? It was hard to grasp. Why didn't she tell me? I asked, more to myself than to Sophia. I think she wanted to, but she was afraid. Maybe she didn't know how to bring it up. Or maybe she thought it was too late. Sophia's voice softened. When I finally tracked her down, I reached out to her. We exchanged a few letters, but she asked me not to visit. She said she had built a new life and didn't want to disrupt it. I respected her wishes, but it wasn't easy. I always wanted to know her, to understand why she gave me up. I felt a deep pang in my chest. Emily had always been strong, but there was a part of her I had never seen, a vulnerable side, a side that had experienced a deep, personal pain. "Why are you here now?" I asked gently. Sophia hesitated for a moment, her eyes searching mine. After she passed away, I found out where she had been living. I wanted to meet you, the man she spent her life with. I wanted to understand the part of her that I never got to know. We spent the next few hours talking about Emily, about her life, about the years Sophia had spent wondering who her mother really was. As she spoke, I could see so much of Emily in her, the way she moved her hands when she talked, the way her eyes lit up when she laughed. It was eerie and comforting at the same time. At one point, Sophia pulled a small, worn notebook from her bag and placed it on the table between us. "These are the letters she sent me. I thought you might want to read them." I stared at the notebook for a moment, unsure if I was ready to dive into that part of Emily's past. But I nodded and reached for it, my fingers trembling slightly as I opened the first page. Inside were the familiar, neat lines of Emily's handwriting. I could hear her voice in my mind as I read the words she had written to her daughter, words filled with love, regret, and a deep desire for understanding. Over the next few weeks, Sophia and I grew closer. She came by the house often, and we talked more about Emily, about the life she had before I met her, and the life we had built together. It was healing in a way I hadn't expected. Meeting Sophia felt like closing a chapter of Emily's life that I hadn't known needed closure. But things took an unexpected turn one afternoon when Sophia came by with a man I didn't recognize. He was tall, with sharp features and a confident stride. Sophia introduced him as Mark, her fiancé. I welcomed him warmly, happy to see Sophia moving forward in her own life. After a while, though, I began to notice something off about Mark. There was an arrogance in the way he spoke, especially when it came to Sophia. He would interrupt her, dismiss her opinions, and make condescending comments disguised as jokes. Sophia laughed them off at first, but I could see the flicker of discomfort in her eyes. One evening, after dinner, when Mark had stepped outside for a phone call, I turned to Sophia. "Is everything okay between you two?" I asked gently. She hesitated for a moment before giving a small, forced smile. "Yeah, it's fine. He can be a bit intense, but it's just his personality." I didn't push her, but something didn't sit right with me. As time went on, Mark's behavior grew more concerning. He started isolating Sophia, discouraging her from spending time with me, and even suggesting they move away from the area after the wedding. I could see the way Sophia was shrinking under his influence, and it broke my heart. One evening, after a particularly tense dinner, I finally confronted Mark. "You need to respect her more," I said bluntly. He smirked, clearly not taking me seriously. "Look, old man," he said, his tone dripping with sarcasm. "I know you think you're protecting her or something, but Sophia's a grown woman. She doesn't need you meddling in her life." The audacity of his words hit me hard, but I stayed calm. She's like family to me now, and family looks out for each other. Mark's eyes narrowed, and for a moment I thought he might say something more, but instead he turned and walked out the door without another word. Sophia followed after him, looking torn between loyalty to him and the growing concern I knew she felt deep down. The days that followed were tense. Sophia stopped visiting as often, and when she did, Mark was always with her, watching her every move. I could see the strain it was putting on her, but she wasn't ready to face it. Then, one night, I got a call from Sophia. Her voice was shaky, and I could hear the tears in her throat. "Alex, I don't know what to do," she whispered. I knew. I had seen it before, in other relationships, in friends who had gone through the same. She was trapped in a toxic relationship, and it was breaking her down, piece by piece. That night changed everything. Sophia ended up staying with me for a while, away from Mark, as she figured things out. It wasn't easy, leaving someone like that never is, but with time and support, she found the strength to walk away. In helping Sophia through this, I felt like I was somehow honoring Emily's legacy too. She had faced her own battles in life, and now her daughter was facing hers. But this time, she wasn't alone. As the weeks passed, things started to settle down. Sophia had moved into a small apartment not far from where I lived, and we kept in regular contact. She was doing better, stronger every day, as she rediscovered her independence. It wasn't an easy journey, but watching her rebuild her life reminded me of how resilient people can be when they choose to reclaim their own power. We spent a lot of time together in those days, talking about life, about Emily, and even about the future. Sophia had dreams of starting her own business, something small but meaningful. We brainstormed ideas together over coffee, and it felt good to see her excitement return. One afternoon, we decided to go through some of Emily's old belongings. I hadn't been able to touch her things for a long time, but with Sophia there, it felt like the right time. We uncovered old photographs, letters, and trinkets from Emily's life before we met. Among them, Sophia found a small silver locket that had been tucked away in a drawer. Inside was a picture of a baby, Sophia, as a newborn. The sight of it brought tears to her eyes. "She never forgot me," Sophia whispered, clutching the locket tightly. "Even though she never told you, she kept this." I reached out and placed a hand on her shoulder. "She loved you, Sophia. She just didn't know how to deal with the pain of the past." Sophia nodded, wiping away her tears. I think I understand her better now, and maybe, in some way, she wanted us to find each other. Time continued to heal the wounds. Sophia and I grew closer, like family, filling in the gaps left by Emily's absence. She wasn't just someone I knew through Emily anymore. She became someone I cared about deeply on her own terms. We laughed, shared stories, and supported each other in ways I never expected. But every story must come to an end. And as life moved forward, I found myself reflecting on everything that had happened. Emily's passing, Sophia's arrival, and the way things unfolded with Mark had all been unexpected twists in my quiet life. Yet, they brought with them new beginnings and a sense of closure I hadn't realized I needed. One warm evening, Sophia and I sat together on the porch, the setting sun casting golden hues across the sky. We didn't say much. We didn't need to. The silence between us was comfortable, filled with the unspoken understanding that we had both found something important in each other, a connection that transcended the complications of the past. "I think she'd be proud of us," Sophia said softly, breaking the silence. I smiled, looking out at the garden that Emily had loved so much. Yeah, I think she would be. As the last rays of sunlight disappeared over the horizon, I felt a sense of peace wash over me. It wasn't just the end of a chapter, it was the end of a story that had changed my life in ways I never could have imagined. In meeting Sophia, I had found not only a connection to Emily's past, but also a new family, a new purpose. Life has a funny way of surprising you, and though the road had been bumpy, I was grateful for where it had led me. And with that, I knew it was time to let go of the past, to cherish the memories, and to embrace whatever came next. Some tips and tricks related to the full story and its underlying themes, along with an explanation of key elements that made this story both emotionally engaging and relatable. 1. Dealing with unresolved pasts. Key theme. The story revolves around Alex discovering Emily's hidden past, particularly the fact that she had a daughter, Sophia, whom she never spoke about. This brings to light the concept of unresolved pasts, things we may not share out of fear, regret, or a desire to protect others. Relatability. This aspect makes the story relatable to readers, as many people have things in their pasts they keep hidden. By showing how Alex and Sophia handle this revelation, the story subtly encourages readers to confront unresolved issues in their own lives. Emotional layering. Hidden truths add emotional layers to characters, making them more complex and human. In writing, having characters with pasts they struggle with creates depth and makes their journey more satisfying. 2. Character growth and resilience. Key theme. Both Alex and Sophia grow throughout the story. Alex learns to let go of the perfect image he had of Emily and accept that everyone has struggles. Sophia grows from someone in a toxic relationship to someone who reclaims her independence. Character arcs. Good stories show how characters evolve. Alex, who starts in grief and confusion, ends up finding peace and connection with Sophia. Sophia, who feels lost and trapped, eventually gains the strength to leave her controlling fiancé and stand on her own. When writing, think about how your characters change and ensure they face challenges that push them to grow. Highlight resilience. Both Alex and Sophia's resilience is key to the story's hopeful ending. This reflects the idea that even after pain and loss, people have the capacity to rebuild and move forward. 3. Realistic relationships and bonds. Key theme. The relationship between Alex and Sophia grows naturally, starting from a place of discomfort and confusion and slowly evolving into a meaningful bond. The tension with Mark highlights an unhealthy dynamic, contrasting the healthy, supportive relationship Alex and Sophia build. Slow burn development. In storytelling, relationships, whether romantic, familial, or platonic, should develop gradually. Alex and Sophia don't immediately become close. It takes time, trust, and shared experiences for them to bond. This mirrors real life and makes the relationship feel authentic. Contrast in dynamics. Including both healthy and unhealthy relationships in a story adds complexity. Sophia's relationship with Mark shows the dangers of a toxic partnership, while her bond with Alex demonstrates the beauty of support and care. This contrast adds depth to the narrative and serves as a subtle commentary on what makes relationships thrive or fail. 4th, toxic relationships and empowerment. Key theme. Sophia's relationship with Mark is central to the conflict in the latter half of the story. Mark's manipulative behavior is an example of a toxic relationship. The story subtly educates readers on what toxic behavior looks like and how to overcome it. Toxic versus healthy relationships. By showing both the controlling and dismissive behavior of Mark and the caring, respectful relationship Sophia builds with Alex, the story highlights key differences in what constitutes a healthy relationship. This can help readers recognize these patterns in their own lives. Empowerment. Sophia's journey toward empowerment, leaving Mark and standing up for herself, is crucial. It sends a message of hope to anyone who might be in a similar situation, showing that it's possible to escape toxic relationships with the right support and inner strength. 5. Themes of family and belonging. Key theme. Family isn't always about blood. It's about the connections we form. Sophia's discovery of her mother, Emily, and the bond she eventually forms with Alex, her mother's partner, underlines this. Chosen family. Many people relate to the idea that family isn't necessarily the one you're born into. This theme resonates with readers who have found family in friends or others, making the story emotionally impactful. Writers can tap into this universal need for connection by focusing on the importance of chosen bonds. Healing through connection. Alex's journey from loneliness to connection with Sophia reflects how forming meaningful relationships can help us heal from loss. Including such themes in stories provides emotional payoff as readers see characters find happiness and peace. 6. Using a character's past to drive the plot. Key theme. Emily's hidden past drives much of the story's plot. It's the catalyst that brings Sophia into Alex's life and forces him to confront things he didn't know about the woman he loved. Mystery and revelation. By introducing an unknown aspect of a character's past, in this case Emily's secret daughter, you create intrigue that drives the story forward. Readers become invested because they want to see how the protagonist will handle this unexpected truth. Subtle foreshadowing. To create a more layered story, include hints or small clues early on about the hidden parts of a character's past. For instance, Emily could have mentioned things in passing that Alex didn't fully understand until later. This technique makes the reveal feel more satisfying. 7. Tone and atmosphere in storytelling. Key theme. The tone of the story remains reflective and slightly melancholic, but with an underlying sense of hope. It mirrors Alex's journey as he processes his grief and builds a new connection with Sophia. Maintain consistency in tone. The tone of your story should match its themes. A story about grief, hidden pasts, and healing needs to feel contemplative. Even when there are moments of tension, like with Mark, the overall tone should feel cohesive. Creating atmosphere. Small details, like Alex tending to Emily's garden or the quiet moments on the porch, create an atmosphere that enhances the emotional depth of the story. Writers can use setting, weather, and subtle actions to reflect the character's internal states, making the story feel immersive. 8. A satisfying conclusion. Key theme. The story ends on a hopeful note. Although there is sadness in Emily's passing and the hidden parts of her life, the bond Alex forms with Sophia brings a sense of peace and closure. Sophia's journey toward empowerment also leaves the reader with a feeling of resolution. Emotional closure. Make sure your ending ties up emotional loose ends. Readers need to feel like the characters have grown and that their journeys have been meaningful. In this story, both Alex and Sophia come to terms with their pasts, find healing, and move forward. Hopeful resolutions. Even in stories that deal with difficult topics like loss and toxic relationships, it's important to leave readers with a sense of hope. This ensures that the emotional investment they've made throughout the story feels rewarding. Final thoughts on storytelling. This story covers a wide range of emotional experiences: grief, discovery, love, and empowerment. It's a journey of healing and self-growth, with the reminder that even after life's hardest moments, new connections and happiness can be found. By focusing on the characters' personal journeys and how they evolve, the story provides an engaging, reflective experience that many readers can connect with on a deeper level.